Year 476. In our history, the Western Roman Empire collapsed. The imperial eagles were torn from the standards, the forums fell silent, and the echo of the legions faded under invasions, conspiracies, and decay. The roads became unsafe, libraries burned, and global trade regressed centuries. The world, without its backbone, entered fragmentation and darkness. But what if it hadn't been that way? What if Rome had resisted? What if, instead of falling, it had grown, conquering not only territories, but time itself? This is the chronicle of that world that never was. In this alternate timeline, one man changed destiny. Flavius Majorianus, strategist and reformer, he understood that the fall was not inevitable. He reformed the legions, turning them into a permanent professional army, better armed and trained year-round. He not only fortified borders, but also wove alliances with the Germanic peoples, integrating them into the administration and the army. Visigoths, Franks, and Vandals ceased to be enemies and became Roman citizens, governors, and senators. His greatest innovation was the creation of an unprecedented information network, messengers, optical signals, and spies who traveled every province. From Britannia to Africa, the empire knew what was happening almost in real time. Rebellions were suppressed before they were born, conspiracies uncovered before they met, corruption punished without delay. Freed from the weight of the Middle Ages, Rome accelerated the pulse of history. Imperial engineers, inspired by Archimedes and Hero of Alexandria, perfected the steam engine in the 7th century. The telegraph, first optical, then electric, connected distant provinces in minutes. The mechanical printing press produced technical manuals, medical treatises, maps, and literature. Literacy grew, and knowledge ceased to be a privilege. Cities changed. Millennial aqueducts were adapted to transport hydraulic and steam energy. Imperial roads became early railways. Gas street lamps lit the nights, extending public life. By the year 900, the Pax Romana stretched from Britannia to India. The Mediterranean became a Roman inland lake, crossed by metal ships with reinforced sails. Latin, enriched with words from 100 cultures, became the universal language of commerce, diplomacy, and science. Rome, Constantinople, and New Alexandria were megacities of marble, glass, and steel, with forums hosting tens of thousands. Imperial universities gathered Persian sages, Indian mathematicians, and Greek philosophers. The empire absorbed the best of every culture, ruling not only by the sword, but by knowledge. But no power is eternal without opposition. Distant provinces demanded autonomy, cultures feared losing their traditions, and free confederations threatened borders. The Senate debated between concession and control. When words failed, the legions acted. Battles in deserts, sieges in walled cities, and naval combats with armored ships displayed a hybrid war machine, improved catapults, primitive artillery, and iron discipline. In 1680, Emperor Aelius Cassianus inaugurated the stellar era. The Legio Stellaris carried the Roman standard beyond Earth. Colossal ships, adorned with mosaics, traveled to the Moon and Mars. Colonies like New Minerva, Port Apollo, and Forum Martis flourished. The Martian Colosseum offered simulated combats under transparent domes, with the red planet as a backdrop. Architecture fused classical art and futuristic technology. Corinthian columns supporting titanium domes, fountains adorned with holograms. The Roman citizen of the 18th imperial century lived between tradition and modernity. Theaters with holographic stages presented Cicero's works alongside futuristic dramas. Baths used geothermal energy. Laws inspired by classical Roman law regulated interplanetary conflicts. But inequality persisted. Urban elites enjoyed impossible luxuries, while workers in mining colonies endured harsh conditions. The Senate monitored dissent with networks of informants and instant communications. In our history, 1914 marked the start of the Great War. Here, it was the War of the 10 Nations, a conflict fought on Earth, Mars, Jupiter's moons, and Saturn's orbital stations. Armored legions descended from low orbits. Colossal fleets clashed in silent battles in the void. The Senate was divided. Some called for peace to preserve achievements. Others demanded total war. Fatigue ended up prevailing over pride. The empire survived, but understood that absolute power could not last. Thus was born the Confederation of Free Worlds. Rome ceased to be a center to become a network of allies. Mars, Earth, and the stellar colonies waved golden standards together. The Senate transformed into an arbitration chamber, the legions into a common force under civilian control. Schools taught that true victory was leaving the next generation fewer helmets and more books. The achievements of this Rome were countless. Universal drinking water in the 8th century, efficient hospitals, global atlases with sea routes and wind maps, agriculture optimized by agronomist engineers, art that fused styles and cultures, science shared and protected as common heritage. And so, in this story that never was, Rome did not fall. It learned to walk slowly in its shadow, to build patiently, to look at the stars without forgetting the earth. When it raised its gaze and saw itself reflected in the dome of a Martian city, it did not shout victory. It whispered, "Let us continue," because its greatest legacy was not marble nor metal, but the habit of making the impossible possible.